Another fun project is this drinks holder. Here I have a hockey stick with 7 holes in there for pint glasses, like so. I used to use this quite a few years ago on hockey tour for my 7-a-side hockey team, hence the 7 holes. If you've got a larger team, you're more than welcome to add more holes for those different teammates. Obviously, when you're making one of these, thing to think about is actually what size cup or glass you're actually going to put in there. I'm using a pint glass, so hence why I've got quite a large diameter hole. If you're making for smaller cups, you'll need to make a smaller hole. And the best way to work out the size is to actually look at both ends of your drinking vessel. First of all, look at the larger diameter, the top size. You'll probably want to draw it on top. Just have a look and just make sure it's definitely too big to fall through the hole. And then if you draw the small size on there as well, your hole size is going to be between the small size and the large size. So hopefully your drinking vessel should rest halfway in your little holder. Right, so that's what we're going to try and make. I'm just going to demonstrate to you how to actually make those holes. I don't need to demonstrate how to actually cut out the shape, because you can actually make it into your own design. You could quite happily do a rugby ball if you wanted a rugby ball one, or you can make butterflies, any shape you think of. You can do the outline in that shape and then just drill some holes in there for your drinking vessels. So I've got a piece of plywood here with a hole already drawn on there. What we need to do is actually cut the hole out. The 2 main methods for doing that. The first method would be to use what we call a holer drill. If you look here, we've got a shaft in the middle for actually holding the drill central, and then you've got these very sharp teeth for cutting into the wood. When you do use one of these drills, you've got to be very careful. So first thing you want to do is to clamp it down, and you want a block of wood underneath it, because as you can see, when you're actually drilling, your holer drill part, that part will only just start to cut through the wood, but this part here, which is guiding the holer drill, is actually sticking out quite a long way. So if you were drilling onto your bench, you would end up with quite a nasty hole in your table or bench. So I've just got a scrap block of wood which we can drill onto. It doesn't matter if we damage that. And then we can clamp this down. Purpose of this demonstration, I've only got a small diameter hole here, which is probably more likely to be the size that you're going to use for your little cup holder. So get the drill going full speed. One thing you do need to be careful of is when those teeth first start to bite into the piece of wood. When that happens, if the teeth bite into the wood too quickly, what tends to happen is the drill will spin around, and sometimes it can rip out of your hands, or if you've got a clamp like this one, you might end up ramming your hand into the clamp. So you do need to be very careful. Have the drill going full speed, but don't push down too fast. To help one of those holes, to help it cut, a good idea is just to wobble the drill side to side. It just helps to clear out the sawdust as it drills through the wood. Just got to be very patient when you're drilling. Let's run out of battery. Hang on. Go. Unclip that. You have a nice clean hole. All you need to do now is literally sand around those edges, either with a piece of sandpaper both the top and the bottom, or you can use a nice curve shaped file just to help angle that edge. The other method of cutting that hole would be to drill a hole in a corner. Right, I'm going to drill a hole just so it touches the line. I'm drilling this with anything from an 8 to a 10mm drill bit. There we go, there's my hole near on my line. Now I'm going to clamp this down. And this time I'm going to use a jigsaw. So the jigsaw goes into the hole, and your job is now just to follow that line all the way around, nice and gently. As you end up going around the circle, it's always a good idea to move your feet and walk around with it. I don't want to walk across in front of the camera because you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to stand here, but it's always better practice to walk with your drill. Another thing to be careful of is this cable now is going underneath my piece of wood. It's also going underneath where the blade can be. So just be careful of that cable. I'm going to lift it up and back across to this side just so we don't cut the cable. Wait for the jigsaw to stop before we lift it out, and there we go. Two ways of making the hole. The beauty of the first one, so beauty of using the Holer drill, is it's always going to be a nice perfect circle, but it does depend on whether you have one of these or not. So if you don't have one and you do have a jigsaw, then you can just drill a hole in the corner and just saw around your line. Just like before, just finish it off with a piece of sandpaper or a file just to take off any rough edges. And then hopefully you'll have your own cup holder or drinks holder, whatever you want to call it, and then you can use it at your next garden party